From Oshkosh Community Media Services, this is Oshkosh City Cable 10 and simulcast on 101.9 FM, WOCT, Oshkosh.
The Oshkosh Senior Center presents Senior Savvy.
Hi, and welcome to another Senior Savvy, a show by, for, and about seniors in the Oshkosh community. My name is Yatso-Butz, and I'll be your host for today's show. I would also like to welcome those of you who are listening to us on WOCT Radio 101.9 FM. Today we are going to be talking about health and wellness programs at the Oshkosh Senior Center for 2012. We thought this would be a great time to encourage everybody to tune up their health and wellness and get on board with some of the wonderful opportunities that we have at the Oshkosh Senior Center to support seniors in our community through health, vitality, wellness, and a bunch of other great things. So we are pleased to have Paula Stevens, the registered nurse at the Oshkosh Senior Center, with us today to discuss all of the many programs that are offered at the Oshkosh Senior Center. So welcome, Paula.
Thank you, Molly.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yes.
Now that I'm sitting here, I think it's been a long time since you and I did this, and we're going to kind of go back and forth today and each share a little bit about things that we work with at the Oshkosh Senior Center due to the nature of our jobs, yes. But in particular, encouraging seniors to partake in programs that offer them health and wellness, both physically and mentally. Mm-hmm. So we're going to start with you. So why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself. Maybe there are some people out there who haven't seen you or heard you before.
Well, I'm Paula Stevens, and I've been the nurse at the Senior Center for over 18 years now. Some of the services that are provided by the health program at the Senior Center are, first of all, a nail care service, which is probably one of the longest running services as part of the health program at the center. Probably close to 30 years we've been offering that service to the community.
And you are a busy lady.
Yes. It is a well-utilized service. And the service is for people who are having difficulty trimming their own nails. Primarily, I probably do toenails, but I also do fingernails for some people who maybe have arthritis or have had a stroke, some reason that they're having difficulty doing their own. But toenails is a big problem for a lot of people in that a lot of people have hip problems, knee problems, back problems, poor eyesight. As I said, maybe they're just recovering from a surgery where they can't reach their feet yet. But there's just lots of reasons that it's a well-utilized service. And the service is primarily, it's nail trimming. It consists of a foot assessment and then education for foot care if that's needed. So that's an ongoing service that people can call and make appointments for at the center.
And they should definitely make an appointment.
Yes.
Because it's not a walk-in
type
thing. No,
it's not a walk-in service.
Yes, we want to make that clear.
Then I do lots of things like blood pressure screenings, that I do that by appointment, but also you and I both do that in our fitness center. Heart rates, we do oxygen levels on people in our fitness center so that we can monitor them while they're exercising. And that's available periodically throughout the week. We're not in there consistently for some, that's not available at all times there, but we do try to spend some time every week doing that. We also offer finger stick blood sugars for those who are either concerned, particularly if they have a family history of diabetes or they have any symptoms that they're concerned about. So that's a fasting test, and that's available any day of the week, and people can do that also by appointments. Some of the things that we have been offering that are popular is we've had ThedaCare laboratories come in and offer which we call a wellness blood panel that tests 17 different blood elements. It consists of a total cholesterol panel, blood sugar, some of the elements that test kidney function and liver function. And that test we've been offering every 6 months that we have Theta Care come in, and we make that as an offering for participants. And then with that, we also offer the hemoglobin A1C test, which is a test for, it's used now for screening for diabetes. And that gives them an overall blood sugar, how it's been running for the previous 3 months. So those tests, we're kind of on a November-May cycle, is the every 6 month cycle, but that appears in our newsletter. Mm-hmm. So if there are people that are interested in that, it's a pretty affordable price that it's offered at, is why I think it's become very popular. Mm-hmm. So if people are underinsured or uninsured, that might be something that they want to pay attention to in our newsletter. We also have recently started having a pharmacist come in monthly, and they're doing a medication review with anyone that's interested. So people, they don't have to make an appointment for this, they just come in. And that also will be advertised always in our newsletter. And basically they just need to bring in with them a bag of all of their current prescription, over-the-counter, vitamins, herbal supplements, that kind of thing, with them, as well as any of their questions that they might have for a pharmacist. And we had a really good turnout this past month for that, and I think it was really helpful. Saved some people some money. They got some good tips, as well as a great deal of education on the medications that they're taking and maybe better ways to take those drugs.
Right.
So,
and that is not by appointment. That people can just come in, and
yes.
again, that's listed in our newsletter
yes.
under our monthly programs.
Programs, mm-hmm. right? And we've been doing. We're going to try to do it one morning a month. That we'd have pharmacists. Sometimes, actually, this month we had 3 pharmacists that came, and we kept them all busy. So
good.
We also are hoping to begin a program that we're called a brain fitness program. And this is a computer-based brain exercise program. And it's 40 hours of exercise. And let me start by saying you don't have to know how to use a computer to do this. In the first session, using a mouse would be all that you need to learn, and they're going to go over that in the first session. So someone who isn't comfortable with a computer doesn't have to feel this excludes them, mm-hmm. so that they might want to try. It's going to be it's a program that's been researched, it's been studied, it was developed by 50 different scientists from around the world had input into this program. It's been shown to improve people's memory by 10 years. Wow. It sharpens not only memory, but their communication skills and their thinking process. The program adjusts to their performance as they make their way through it. It gives them continuous feedback on how they're doing, the progress that they're making. And it's 40 hours of exercise is what the program will be. It's going to require some kind of commitment mm-hmm. for someone who is interested, because it's recommended that they do that 40 hours within 3 months in order to get the expected outcome from it.
Wow. Wow.
So that would mean about 3 hours.
Well worth it.
Right. So about 3 hours a week you'd have to put into it, and it'll be done in our computer labs. Mm-hmm. But it might be a great winter project for some people to work on their brain, improving their memory.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I also facilitate a support group at the center. We have a Parkinson's support group, and that's been in existence for a long time at the Senior Center. We have a really good group of people. I'd say 18 to 25 people come each month for that meeting. It's people who have Parkinson's disease as well as their care partners And so a lot of them have a spouse that come with them, or they might have a son or daughter or a caregiver that brings them. So our meetings are pretty much focused on, some months we have speakers, and other months we pick out some aspect of living and coping with Parkinson's disease, and then we group share on that topic. So definitely I invite anyone who's dealing with that challenge to think about joining us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we try to get those topics in the newsletter as well. And we also try to put out little press releases in the paper and things like that. So if anybody is interested in specific topics for that Parkinson's support group, they can check our newsletter as well.
Each month it tells what we're going to focus on that month. So,
absolutely.
So Molly, you're involved in a support group also.
Yep. So I'm going to have them put the other support groups that are offered at the Oshkosh Senior Center on the screen, and we can talk about each of those. We also have a COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. That is typically emphysema, lung disease, people who struggle with breathing, but it's mostly a lung disorder. And that group meets at the Senior Center on the second Wednesday at 1 p.m. And their group is run similarly to what Paula was saying about Parkinson's. It's sometimes they have guest speakers, sometimes it's just a group facilitated on their own as support for each other, talking about things that are currently working, things that aren't currently working. But they do try to get guest speakers for the most part to come and talk to that group. Then Parkinson's, of course, is held on the third Tuesday at 2 p.m. and Paula facilitates that support group, and that information can always be found in the monthly newsletter. The next support group, they just most recently changed their name. We used to call it the VIP, which was visually impaired, but the group came to me last month and really wanted to change the name of the group, and so we did, and now it's called Visually Challenged. And this group is open to anybody who has a vision challenge and their spouse or family member or caregiver. We have a lot of people who come, obviously, with a vision challenge, come with their caregivers. I know you have the same thing with the Parkinson's. So we certainly encourage family members or caregivers to attend. But that group meets on the first Tuesday at, actually it's 10 a.m. First Tuesday at 10 a.m. At the Oshkosh Senior Center. And then we have the weight management support group, and this is for anybody who struggles with maintaining a healthy weight, maybe doesn't know exactly what things they should be eating as they age, or struggles with getting motivated to exercise, or finds that it's harder to exercise as they age, or they just don't know where to start, or just maybe having a hard time putting the two together. And so this group meets on the second Thursday at 1 p.m. and I generally facilitate that support group, or maybe I have a student or things like that. But we talk about maybe it's healthy eating or healthy habits for holidays. Maybe it's just understanding the food label a little bit better. Maybe it's understanding the new Nutra Val or guideline at Festival. We talk about just a wide variety, understanding My Plate. So we do that each month, and all support groups meet at the South facility. So the other thing that Paula and I wanted to discuss with our listeners and viewers was the fitness center at the Oshkosh Senior Center. We currently have a wonderful fitness center, and Paula said that her and I each spend a little bit of time there each month or each week to just help people get acclimated, maybe talk to each of us about exercise blood pressure or questions that they may be having. We have students and volunteers and myself who give training to that equipment and help you get set up on a program. But then the other two requirements Paula and I do with people. So we're going to just be talking about those a little bit. In order to use our fitness center at the Oshkosh Senior Center, you are required to have a fitness center orientation. This is about an hour to an hour and 15-minute appointment that will take you through each of the different equipment at the Fox Fitness Center and just have you jump, hop on it or walk on it or whatever it is and just get you comfortable with that equipment. We write down as much as we can to help you remember what your weight was at, how many repetitions you're going to do, what's a good starting speed on the treadmill, all of those type of things. And that is by appointment only. And people are to call the Oshkosh Senior Center to sign up for that. The second requirement, in which Paula is going to go a little bit more into detail with, is the fitness assessment. And this is a 30-minute appointment with myself and Paula, in which we go through about 6 different exercises that test various parts of your fitness. And like I said, Paula's going to go into that in a little more detail. And that also is by appointment only, and that you need to call the Oshkosh Senior Center to schedule your appointment. And then the last requirement is that we ask that you take a workshop, and it's called Exercise Basics. This is a 1-hour workshop, again, taught by either myself or Paula, that breaks down the 4 components to a good exercise program and kind of teaches you the frequency, intensity, time, and type of each of those work components so that you know why you're doing the things that you're doing in our fitness center and just get a better understanding of exercise for older adults. And this workshop is offered 1 time per month, typically on a Wednesday in the afternoon. And we taught the only thing we require you to do before you can actually come and work out in the fitness center is that fitness center orientation, which is the first requirement. The other 2, we just ask that you schedule that within the first month, because we only offer those assessments and workshop just not as frequently throughout the month. So, Paula, I know you were going to talk a little bit about the fitness assessment.
Well, the assessment is an opportunity to sit down with Molly and I, and it's a 30-minute appointment that you make. And during that assessment, we check your blood pressure, your heart rate, we do a height and weight, we calculate your body mass index. We also do a risk assessment for metabolic syndrome, which is becoming all too common in our society. It is a cluster of 5 risk factors that are just kind of a red flag that would say that if you have 3 or more of the 5 risk factors, that you're a person who is at higher risk of developing diabetes, heart disease, or stroke. So we try to make people aware if that is something that they need to key into during the assessment. And those risk factors that we're talking about would be, first of all, the first one is abdominal obesity. So that would be a person who has more of an apple-shaped body, who carries weight in the center of their body. And for men, if they have a waistline of 40 or more inches, that would be a risk factor. For women, if their waistline is 35 or more inches, it's a risk factor. Then the other risk factor is triglycerides, which is a blood fat. If it's 150 or greater, that would be a risk factor for you. Having low HDLs, which is our good cholesterol, if that's the number we want to be as high as possible. And for men, if it was less than 40, it would be a risk factor. And for women, if it's less than 50, it's a risk factor. High blood pressure could be a risk factor for metabolic syndrome, and that is blood pressure that is 130 on the top, with the systolic pressure is 130 or greater, or the diastolic pressure, the lower number, is 85 or higher, would be a risk factor. And then the last factor is a high elevated blood sugar. So if you've ever had a high blood sugar of 100 or greater, that could be a risk factor. But the way to work on changing those risk factors is exercise and a good healthy diet. So losing weight. So being at the fitness center, going through this assessment means that they're started on the right track already, that they're trying to make exercise part of their lifestyle, which is a key factor in changing those risk factors in their life. So we do that, and then when we go, our assessment then goes on to, we look at people's upper and lower body strength. We assess those. We assess their upper and lower body flexibility, their cardiac endurance, and then also their balance and agility. And then the last part of that, after we're done doing all those testing things, then we sit down and we go across through the results with them. We compare where they are at to other men and women of their age. And then we just basically help them look at what are ways that they could improve their fitness. What areas are they weak in? And where do they maybe need to put a little extra effort? Mm-hmm. So it's a good place to start at the fitness center to kind of know where you're at in your fitness.
Absolutely, and I think, and that service is open to any senior. You don't even have to be a participant of our exercise programs to participate in that service, and it's totally free. It's 30 minutes, and I think it's just a really good 30 minutes. I think the last I looked, we have tested over 800 people. I mean, we've tested a lot.
Yes.
So, it's good.
It is, and the wonderful thing for our participants is to have that kind of base screening, and then we always invite them to, in 6 months to a year, they're invited to come back and go through the assessment again. And it's such good reinforcement because they're so excited, if they've been faithful to their exercise, to see how their fitness has increased. And when they see that where they rated in their lower body strength has gone from 40% to now they're in the 90th percentile for their age, they get so excited, and it just shows them that it does make a difference to exercise.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. That is a very fun part. So when I talked about the exercise basics class, I said that there's there's 4 components to a good exercise program, and we've kind of developed a guideline of exercise for seniors, in particular the ones who come to our fitness center. So why don't you just kind of talk about that, what we recommend, those 4 components and the guidelines for our seniors.
Okay. The American Heart Association and the American College of Sports Medicine has set guidelines for adults for exercise. And for older adults, there's 4 basic components. First of all, we want to be doing something for our cardiovascular fitness. And that means something in which we are strengthening our heart muscle and our lungs. So it's something where we have to get our heart rates up. So it's things like walking, biking, swimming, dancing. Those kinds of activities where we have to break a sweat, feel like our heart's beating a little bit faster, but where we can still converse as we're doing it. That would be considered a moderate intensity of exercise, and it's recommended that people get at least 30 minutes 5 days a week of that type of exercise. And the important thing for seniors to remember is you don't have to do the whole 30 minutes at one time. It can be broken up into 3 10-minute segments or 2 15-minute segments. Or, the really important thing is that everybody has to know that they start wherever it is they are at. And if you're not used to exercise and you haven't done it for a long time, it's not too late to start. And you start wherever you're at. And the goal would be to gradually build up to 30 minutes a day.
Right.
So that's one component of a good fitness program. Another component would be to add strengthening exercises, some type of resistance exercise where we use either a weight or a stretch band or the weight of our own body to put resistance against the muscle, and it's recommended that you do 8 to 10 of those exercises. at least 2 to 3 times a week. And we'd want to work the upper body and the lower body. Then also we would want to do some type of flexibility training or stretching, because we want to keep our muscles long and loose so that we can move them through their normal range of motion. In other words, we can bend over and tie our shoes, we can reach up and get something out of the cupboard. So those kinds of exercises can be done daily, but it's recommended at least 2 to 3 times a week that you do that type of exercise. And the important part about stretching is that you hold the stretch. And then the fourth type of training that's really important for seniors is to do something for their balance. Because we all know that falls become a big concern as we get older, and 1 out of every 3 seniors over the age of 65 falls each year. So adding that component to your fitness program is really important, and it's a skill, a motor skill, and it can be developed just like developing your strength or your cardiovascular strength. So it's just kinds of exercise where you're focusing in on trying to maintain your balance. So things where you're standing on one leg, kinds of exercises, or putting one foot in front of the other, like the drunk man walk, walking forward, walking back, doing that, of course, along where a countertop or a wall where you have something to hold on to. But that would be an example of a balance type of exercise. And we're hoping in the coming year that maybe we'll start a monthly program where we kind of zero in on helping people who want to target their balance, giving them some resources for how do you begin with that and what kinds of exercises do you do. So we're thinking about doing a 1-hour class each month that we'd repeat it each month for people that are interested, and it would be kind of like our exercise basics that we're currently doing.
Right, so we're excited about that. And again, this is just what we know we're going to have going into 2012, not all the ideas that are spinning through our head for 2012. But if we've piqued your interest and you'd like to get involved in any of the programs that we talked about today, many of them do require an appointment, or you can get additional information just by calling the Oshkosh Senior Center at 232-5300, and anybody would be glad to help you. There are some fees attached to some of these services, including a monthly user fee for our fitness center exercise classes. If you reside in the city of Oshkosh, it's as low as $10 a month. The nail care that Paula talked about does ask for a $20 donation for her nail care service, but certainly well worth it. And, we're always open to ideas and suggestions. If there's something in particular you'd like us to talk about, please let us know. Otherwise, check out our monthly support groups, because those are very beneficial to many in the community who take advantage of those as well. So, Paula, it's been a great half hour, a very quick one. A lot of great programs and services offered at the Oshkosh Senior Center. And if anybody, again, has any questions about the things we talked about today, you can contact the Oshkosh Senior Center at 232-5300. And we thank you for being here. Thank you for all that you do at the Oshkosh Senior Center. And this has been another Senior Savvy.